Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Hedera Hashgraph, or Hbar. I know that I haven't called it Hedera Hashgraph in a fairly long time, as we do know that they did change the name, but we already know that they are building third generation blockchain technology, aka Hashgraph, and it only makes sense to call it that because today we are going to be talking about something very important. We're going to be talking about trillion-dollar tokenization markets that Hedera Hashgraph is definitely 100% going to disrupt. So when we're talking about this market right now, currently, things are, kind of moving. Nothing too crazy in terms of, price movements overall. Like, Bitcoin's back up to almost 58K. We've seen it, peak a little bit above it. Nothing too crazy though, and there's nothing validated for us to have the bottom in just yet. I'm going to talk about this later in a video. But overall, in terms of what's happening with this market right now, okay, so first off, Ethereum is up about 4.7%, opposed to Bitcoin being, down still about 0.75%. We're also seeing some altcoins like Binance Coin, Solana, Cardano, even XRP, and a few other ones actually up a little bit in terms of percentage value. Now, this isn't because, we're seeing them decouple from Bitcoin and we're about to have that parabolic ride to the top. No, it's just because Bitcoin dominance up here, as you guys do see, is at 42.3%, and Ethereum dominance is actually about at 19.6%. In fact, we can kind of customize this and we could put the dominance on the chart. 1 second. So let's get rid of circulating supply and let's go to dominance percentage. And here we go. So dominance, Bitcoin 42.3, like I said. And then we also have some altcoins getting some more dominance. So right now, we're not even in the last stretch of this bull run yet. We still have some time to go. We're obviously going to see Bitcoin kind of range on a little bit more. I suspect that this dip that we've just recently had, or this correction, whatever you want to call it, is probably going to bleed into almost the end of this month, which is totally fine and it's actually healthy. I've discussed this on Twitter as well, and I've told you guys about it. But overall, we're going to be seeing a lot of altcoin movements very soon. Probably within the month of December is a real key to watch for. On the 24-hour span, a lot of coins are starting to make some leeway. In fact, Decentraland or Mana, a lot of those, I've always talked about the metaverse. In terms of the metaverse, a lot of these assets are going to start doing, real moves. And I do suspect that in terms of Hbar, we're going to see Hbar start to move as well. It's just going to take a little bit more time for us to get back to the position that we were at. Obviously, trading volume is still down about 31.5%. But overall, I'm not too worried about the price just yet. Obviously, the price will follow through very soon. We just have to be a little bit more patient. I know a lot of us have been patient for a very long time. I'm right there with you. Now, I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about this video today, as we did have Kevin O'Leary actually mention Hbar on CNBC, which is pretty interesting, and of course it kind of solidifies the idea of him almost saying Hbar previously, but let's listen in closely.
Bitcoin, obviously, but these teams, these development teams like Solana or Hbar or Polygon are developing productivity software, and companies like Boeing and Ernst & Young are starting to develop these proprietary chains with centralized and decentralized ledgers for themselves.
So it's actually pretty interesting for him to mention that. We already know that, he's been in ties with Hbar in the past, especially in terms of Jordan Freed. Now, when we're talking about this, right, is he invested in Hbar? I have zero doubt that he isn't. He's 100%, he has to have some exposure to Hbar, because there's no way that he doesn't, especially in terms of talking to Jordan Freed about NFTs, tokenization. He's talking about, digitization as well. Honestly, anybody who is anybody should probably know about crypto at this point and understand the major problem right now, which is the blockchain dilemma, or trilemma, if you will, which we know that Hedera is actually solving. So, Hbar is the leading name in the game, in my opinion, especially for enterprise use cases on a DLT technology, and that's what he's actually talking about as well. And he's talking about a few other, companies. It's funny that he mentions Boeing, which is a GC member of Hbar as well. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Now, I do want to talk to you guys about tokenization, because I've been talking to you guys about Web 3.0 for a fairly long time, and we're actually seeing here, if you don't see by now, the tokenization of everything is the biggest thing we have ever ever seen and will ever see. I can't help you as much. It dwarfs all other opportunities for risk reward over time. Web 3.0 is something yet or few yet understand, but will change business forever. I'm working on getting RV into that world over time. So much cool stuff in our plans, but I'm working on setting up some other projects too. Hedge funds in crypto produce amazing alpha, but are capital starved. I'm going to solve that with crypto funds of funds. Sadly, that is currently only for HNW and institutions, as laws make it hard for normal people. That launches very soon and solves some big issues for crypto hedge funds, family offices, investors, and institutions. And I just want you guys to all understand what is actually happening here. There's another project I'm a founder of that will tokenize the world's biggest existing communities, but can't share more info yet. But it's big news and has ludicrous list of investors. Let's all play our part, build businesses, create opportunities, and over time we will change the world. There's plenty of time to sleep. When we are dead, too much to do, more to come. And I just want to advise you guys. Okay, so first off, in terms of crypto adoption, we haven't even really seen the actual spark be lit. It's so early in its infancy stages, but I do want to talk to you guys about tokenization because we've always discussed the tokenization of everything, and we are going to get to that point, and I do believe that at some point in time, we are going to be at least a $100 trillion plus market with, of course, most likely HBAR will have about 10% of that market share. And I'm just saying that in a realistic standpoint because HBAR is leading the name in terms of tokenization. And look at the capital that's in a lot of these, asset classes. For an example, gold itself worth $9.6 trillion on a global value, real estate $10 trillion, commodities $20 trillion, currency $6.6 trillion, total $46.2 trillion. Now, I know what you guys are probably thinking. Well, dude, you just said $100 trillion for this market, but what is up with this, right? So, okay, yeah, I get that, right? But in terms of tokenization, this is not going to be the only thing that drives value in crypto. No, absolutely not. There is so much more to this game that is not tokenized. This is just when we're talking about the overall tokenized value of these assets. If we get all of these asset classes at scale, we would be essentially tokenizing $46.2 trillion worth of value just between these four, which is, obviously currency, commodities, real estate, and gold. Now, of course, we talk about the cross-border sector as well, which we know a lot of assets in this space are trying to disrupt. We talk about the $2.7 quadrillion derivatives market, which there's a ton of money out there, guys. So there's a ton of use cases, a ton of growth potential for crypto as well. But I do want to show you guys tokenization of just these four asset classes, which is $46.2 trillion. Now, in terms of this, right, where does, HBAR, pretty much hold value? Well, first off, we go back to this tweet from Barbarian. Shout out to him. Hedera Solidity smart contracts are bringing the highest speed on-chain programmability to tokenization with fixed low fees, enabling Solidity and Viper developers to make EVM contracts extremely fast and highly scalable. And of course, we do see here Ethereum 2.0 and Hedera Smart Contracts 2.0 with a little bit of a meme, right? It's funny, it's cool, it's whatever, it's games. But when we're talking about what Hedera is actually building, I think a lot of people are kind of stuck with the idea that, oh, well, if something's working, why fix it? Well, Ethereum 2.0 is no longer, a thing that's going to be happening in this year or next year or even possibly the next year after that. But also, Ethereum itself is extremely broken. That's why I do like Casper a lot. I talk about Casper a lot on this channel. And of course, in terms of HBAR is absolutely shredding the game in terms of pretty much, prospering well beyond, blockchain technology 1.0 and 2.0. And essentially, we are the third generation of, crypto technology, which is Hashgraph. So, with what we're doing right now, we're extremely scalable. We're extremely, in my opinion, affordable to any enterprise or any business or even any individual out there. I mean, anybody could essentially afford to build on Hedera. You don't have to have $1 million or anything. It's extremely cheap and affordable. But also, it's the idea that we're already seeing Ethereum-based clients and customers moving over to Hedera. And in terms of tokenization, I think that we're going to see tokenization really spark very soon. Most likely not this year or in the year of 2022, but by the next bull run, this space is going to be extremely different and diverse, and will most likely be in a utility-driven market where Hedera is going to probably be the leading racehorse. If not, it's going to be the top three. Now, we also see here Hedera, Hashgraph, and LCX to develop infrastructure for digital securities. I've talked to you guys about this, and I've discussed this very closely to you guys. Now, I've discussed ALBT also disrupting a $100 trillion market in terms of securities. Yes, that's right, $100 trillion market. In terms of that, with this, we're seeing almost $46 trillion plus in terms of market value share here. Now, of course, are we going to, capitalize on the entire market and pretty much grasp the entire market? Absolutely not. I'm just saying, in terms of what's happening, HBAR is going to be the leading racehorse. I've always discussed this, okay? And then, of course, we do see here the importance of tokenized asset in the future of tokenization. Get a view here. And, of course, here you guys have it from Lehman himself. Listen closely.
How do you see the importance of tokenized assets and the future of tokenization?
Oh, this is a big deal. So I think that ultimately, pretty much everything of value will end up being tokenized. It just makes too much sense. It's the same way that we used to do record keeping on paper, and it eventually all moved to computers just because it made sense. And we used to send information back and forth by mailing these shiny disks through the mail. How weird. Now it's all just over the internet. In the same way, ledgers are going to end up tokenizing everything. What that means is traditional assets like stocks and diamonds and artwork are all going to be tokenized. But in addition, people are going to start tokenizing things that have never been tokenized before, like your own future revenue. Spencer Dinwiddie is doing that. That's going to be tokenized. People are going to be tokenizing things like a kilowatt hour of electricity combined with carbon credits to offset it, glued together. People are tokenizing that. People are going to be tokenizing complex derivatives and futures and sorts of things. All of these things are going to be tokenized. Things that haven't been tokenized.
And I just want to pause this real quick to mention, did you just hear what he said about the derivatives? Derivatives market is $2.7 quadrillion, guys.
Tokenized before. Spencer had tokenized the ability for people to influence which shoes he wears at the next game. This is not something that has ever been a market before. And so the ability to tokenize things and to send little tiny fractions of a value. I didn't even say that about the diamonds. Maybe I could buy a cup of coffee with 1/millionth of a diamond. You can't do that today. If I have a diamond, I can't really go to Starbucks and hand them 1/millionth of a diamond, but you can do that.
And he's talking about tokenization of jewelry, diamonds, pretty much everything. Anything that you could think about, your salary. We're talking about, the commodities market. We're talking about, stocks in general. The entire stock market. Things are going to change at a rapid pace. And I really want, to really discuss this with you guys, because this is actually much bigger than anybody has ever gone into what, HBAR could essentially be at the scale. And of course, working with LCX, this is a huge deal, and LCX is also a very huge asset as well. In terms of this as well, we do see here, as we move towards a digitally connected everything, policies and risk management is becoming increasingly complex. And of course, this goes back to July. And of course, we do see here, everything will be tokenized, the future of identity. Everything is going to be absolutely massive at scale in terms of tokenization, and of course, including FPOS and, Hedera Hashgraph. Now, he also did talk about, tokenization of carbon credits and stuff, which we're obviously, getting to. But I do also want to show you guys this. This is from Standard Custody. We partnered with investment bank BBH to publish a white paper on the potential that tokenization will bring to financial markets. It's going to be absolutely massive at scale. I don't understand how nobody could really see this. I mean, I know there's a few people out there, but in terms of what is happening in terms of the tokenization market and tokenization of securities, derivatives, stocks, we're talking about Rolexes, we're talking about jewelry, diamonds, a fraction of a diamond you could essentially transact with. We've never seen that before. At scale, this is not just a $100 trillion market. This is much bigger than that. But of course, we did see this stuff yesterday with Venly, and I thought this was interesting, and we talked about it a little bit, but we didn't do a deep dive. And when we're talking about a little bit of a deep dive, we do see here the first sustainability project on the Hedera network using Venly's tools is Dovu Official, a tokenized data economy for DeFi carbon offsetting. And that is exactly what Lehman mentioned in this video as well, discussing, tokenization of, kilowatts an hour to carbon credits and carbon offsetting and stuff. This is the future. Hedera is building the future. And I get it, guys. I understand what all of you are probably thinking right now. What the price isn't moving. What are they doing in terms of, why isn't the price moving at all with all of this innovation? Guys, we're not in a utility-driven market yet. We're not. But I'm just saying right now, yeah, are we too early in Hedera? Some could argue that we are. But I don't think that we're too early in terms of making 10x gains, 20x gains possibly. If we have a blow off top on Bitcoin, we could see $10. I've always discussed that, okay? But my base points here are $3 to $6, okay? We're early. We're extremely early. Some could argue that we are too early, but we're not, okay? We're too early to make 100x and 1000x gains off of Hedera. Will we get to that point? It's possible. We could get to that point, at scale, which we're going to move to that. We're obviously going to get there at some point in time. Now, to wrap this up, I just want to let you guys know, if you guys do want to get more of my content, you guys could always go check out NCashOfficial.com. I do have the Ultimate Crusader Trading Bundle Pack on sale right now, 20% off. But with that being said, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, to notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.